They tried to blacklist me from the industry, but one email exposed everything. The morning I got a call from a recruiter, I thought my luck had finally turned. "Mr. Alvarez, your background is impressive," she said. "We'd like to move forward after checking references." For the first time in months, hope swelled inside me. But that same afternoon, her tone changed. "I'm sorry, Marco. After speaking with your old company, we won't be moving ahead." I stammered. "Did they say why?" There was a pause. "They said you were unreliable, difficult, not recommended for rehire." My hands went cold. After 12 years of loyalty, this was how my career ended, erased with a whisper. For weeks, I thought it was over. I was blacklisted. But one email, a single, careless slip they thought I'd never see, turned everything upside down in court. Before I share how that message saved me, subscribe to Lawful Payback and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. My name is Marco Alvarez, 42, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For 12 years, I worked at North Point Engineering, a respected infrastructure design firm. I wasn't flashy, but I was dependable. I led bridge and highway projects, mentored younger engineers, and kept our clients satisfied. When deadlines loomed, I stayed late. When budgets threatened to balloon, I tightened them back in line. At company parties, my boss, Martin Green, toasted me. "Marco's the guy who makes sure this ship doesn't sink." I believed him. I believed loyalty mattered. So when restructuring hit, I never imagined I'd be one of the names on the chopping block. Martin leaned back in his leather chair, cool as ice. "Nothing personal. Just numbers. Your position's eliminated." I walked out with a cardboard box and a severance check that barely covered 2 months' bills. Still, I told myself, it's fine. My record is clean. I'll land somewhere else. But doors began to slam before I even reached them. At first, interviews looked promising. Recruiters smiled. Hiring managers nodded. Then, after reference checks, emails went silent. Calls never returned. Finally, one recruiter leveled with me. "Off the record, Marco, your old company told us you're unreliable, difficult. They strongly advised against hiring you." I felt the floor drop out. It wasn't just one. It happened again. And again. Every offer disappeared the moment North Point was contacted. At home, my wife, Camila, watched me pace the kitchen floor at night. "They're blacklisting you," she whispered. I didn't want to believe it. But months passed. Savings dwindled. Bills piled up. Even our teenage son asked, "Dad, why don't you have work like Mom?" I took driving jobs, food deliveries, anything to scrape by. Each ride request on my phone felt like another insult. I called HR. They deflected. I emailed Martin. His only reply, "Best of luck." Humiliation turned into despair. 6 months in, we were broke. Rent overdue. Credit cards maxed. Camila took double shifts at the clinic. Her eyes carried shadows, but she still tried to smile. I couldn't. I felt worthless. The lowest point came when I saw a LinkedIn update. A former intern of mine, someone I had mentored, announcing his new role. The same job I had interviewed for weeks earlier. I slammed the laptop shut, shaking with rage. That night, I sat in the garage staring at my box of old North Point papers, wondering if I should leave the industry entirely. Construction work, factory jobs, anything. But as I sifted through files, my eyes landed on a USB drive I hadn't touched in years. Curious, I plugged it into my laptop. Inside was a folder labeled North Point, HR Backup. And there it was. An email from Martin to HR. "If Marco ever leaves, ensure references are neutral to negative. We cannot risk him joining competitors." My pulse hammered. Proof. They hadn't just smeared me. They had conspired to erase my career. The next morning, I walked into the office of Melissa Chin, a Minneapolis-based employment attorney. She was known for her no-nonsense approach. Her office wasn't fancy. Cracked blinds, stacks of paper everywhere. but her eyes lit up when I slid the email across her desk. "Marco, this isn't just unfair. This is illegal," she said. "It's defamation. It's intentional interference with employment. And with this evidence, we can build a case." For the first time in months, hope sparked again. Melissa filed suit: defamation, blacklisting, damages for lost wages and emotional distress. North Point's lawyers hit back with everything: motions to dismiss, pages of performance complaints they manufactured out of thin air. But Melissa and her associate dug in, uncovering more: recruiter notes, metadata trails, and internal policy documents that hinted at a broader scheme. The trial drew attention. Local media latched on. The defense painted me as bitter, a man unable to move on. They claimed I was never promised glowing references that any company can share. Factual opinions. Martin himself took the stand, smug. Marco was adequate, but unreliable. I never told anyone not to hire him. Melissa's calm voice cut through. "Do you recall sending this email, Mr. Green?" She clicked. The email projected on the courtroom screen. Gasps. Jurors leaned forward. Martin's face paled. "That's out of context," Melissa pressed. "Context? You instructed HR to give Marco negative references. That's blacklisting, isn't it?" He stammered. Objections flew. The judge overruled. Then Melissa called Lisa Hartman, a recruiter from a competing firm. "When I called North Point," Lisa testified, "they told me Marco was unreliable. Based on that, we pulled our offer." The jury's faces hardened. Melissa's closing hit like thunder. "This company tried to bury Marco with lies. They thought a few whispers could erase 12 years of loyalty. But you decide if truth still matters." The jury deliberated 3 hours. Verdict: in favor of Marco Alvarez. Damages: $1.5 million, covering lost wages, emotional distress, and punitive damages. When the judge read it, tears welled in my eyes. Camila gripped my hand. Reporters surrounded Martin as he fled court, face gray, refusing comment. North Point issued a bland statement about policy reviews, but inside the industry, whispers spread. Companies realized blacklisting wasn't just immoral, it was dangerous. Within weeks, recruiters called again. This time, offers stuck. My reputation restored. But the money, the new job, even the vindication wasn't the real victory. The real victory was this: they tried to silence me with lies. They tried to erase me. And one email, one careless slip, exposed everything. Now when I walk past North Point's glass building downtown, I don't feel bitterness. I feel pride. Because they thought I'd stay silent. And instead I proved them wrong. If you believe in standing up when corporations try to crush you, subscribe to Lawful Payback. The next story will leave you stunned.